Right now, there are only about 250 Jews living in Iceland, so needless to say, the country isn't exactly the hotbed of the Jewish world. The community is so small, in fact, that there actually has never been a local rabbi in the country's recorded history. Well, that's all just changed, and ILTV's Brett Allen Smith is here with the scoop. Brett, what's the buzz in Iceland?
Thank you, Aaron. Well, as you said, Iceland's Jewish community is actually so small that the government doesn't even recognize Judaism as a state religion. Well, just a short time ago, Rabbi Avi Feldman became the country's first ever resident rabbi. Rabbi Feldman has just finished moving his family from New York City to Iceland and stepping right into history books.
All right, now I know next to nothing about Iceland, unfortunately, much less Iceland's Jewish history. So what is Jewish life like in Iceland? I mean, how big of a deal is this?
Well, what I know of the Jewish community in Iceland today is that a lot of them are really transplants from abroad. They're not strictly religious for the most part, and culturally, Iceland is pretty different compared to, the rituals of Judaism. And you see that all the time in day-to-day affairs. For example, there's no kosher meat industry or import in Iceland. And unless someone brings over a box of matzah from abroad, you can't even find matzah during Pesach, during Passover. There's no real system of, Jewish education, organized prayer. There's not even a synagogue in Iceland. So to answer your question, having a local rabbi finally come is a very big deal, and not just symbolically, but because it maybe opens the door for more to grow.
All right, so that brings me to my next question, actually, because ironically, just as Rabbi Feldman is arriving in Iceland, the government of Iceland is preparing for a vote that would completely ban non-medical circumcisions, known as the Brit Milah for Jews. So obviously one of the most sacred Jewish rituals of all, and this kind of ban is something that we're seeing emerge all over the world now. I think it's safe to say that many Jews see it as a total violation of their religious freedoms. So how does the rabbi's arrival impact this vote in Iceland?
Well, this is something Rabbi Feldman's already talked a lot about, actually. Now, on one hand, you're totally right. In a lot of countries where this ban is on the table, it's widely criticized as anti-Semitic. But something Rabbi Feldman himself points out is that in this situation, as far as Iceland is concerned anyway, there's just not much awareness about its importance to the Jewish faith, and that's because there's hardly any Jewish ritual to speak of in Iceland anyway. So let me put it this way with some numbers. In the last 10 years, from 250 Jews, there have only been less than 20 non-medical circumcisions in all of Iceland. So that kind of sums it up.
So why legislate it in the first place? I mean, the other argument here is that circumcision for infant boys is widely recommended by doctors. I believe circumcision in the United States is widely performed for the majority of births.
True, and those numbers, I will say, are slowly going down in the U.S. And a big reason why is that the medical debate around circumcision is kind of still unresolved for a lot of parents, regardless of their faith. And the American Academy of Pediatrics does recommend this practice. They say the benefits do outweigh the risks, but they acknowledge that there are risks involved. So leaving aside, those arguments that say male circumcision is equivalent to, female genital mutilation, at least some of this debate is a medical one.
All right, well, there's a lot to talk about there,
Absolutely.
but unfortunately next time. So thanks for joining us, Brett.
Of course.